The topic we'll cover is Waterfall Project Integration Management, the knowledge area that ensures all parts of the project are properly defined, coordinated, and delivered as one unified whole. In Waterfall, integration is about bringing all the moving parts together: scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, procurement, and risks, and aligning them with the project's overall objectives. The project manager plays the lead role here, ensuring that all knowledge areas are not managed in silos, but integrated into a single, cohesive project plan. One of the most important responsibilities is developing the project charter, which formally authorizes the project and gives the PM authority to apply resources. On the exam, remember that the charter is issued by the sponsor or initiating entity, not by the project manager. Next comes the project management plan, which is the central document in waterfall projects. It integrates all subsidiary plans like scope management, schedule management, cost management, and risk management into one master plan. This plan is formally approved, and in Waterfall, it becomes the baseline the PM is measured against. Any changes to this plan must go through integrated change control. Change control is a major focus in this knowledge area. In Waterfall, all change requests must be documented, reviewed, and either approved or rejected by the Change Control Board, CCB. A common exam trap is scope creep, unapproved changes, slipping into the project, or gold plating, where the team adds extra work beyond what's required. Both are incorrect practices in Waterfall. Another integration responsibility is directing and managing project work, ensuring that all activities are executed according to the plan, and monitoring and controlling work to track performance against baselines. When variances occur, the PM initiates corrective or preventive actions through the change control process. Finally, integration management also includes project or phase closure. In Waterfall, each phase must be formally closed before moving to the next, ensuring deliverables are accepted, lessons learned are documented, and contracts are closed out. For the exam, remember that integration is about ownership, alignment, and control. The PM is accountable for ensuring the project runs as a single, unified effort and that no work happens outside the formally approved plan. Now we'll go through practice questions that test your knowledge of project charters, management plans, change control, and the PM's central role in Waterfall Integration Management. Let's jump into the first question in this topic. Question 11. A newly assigned project manager reviews the approved project charter for a government-funded initiative. The charter includes high-level scope, identified stakeholders, an authorized budget range, and assigns the PM. However, it does not include specific milestone dates or performance metrics. A key stakeholder requests a commitment to delivery within 6 months. What should the project manager do? A. Decline to commit to a timeline until the project management plan is developed and approved. B. Refer to the charter's budget authorization to justify setting a 6-month delivery window. C. Provide a tentative schedule based on similar past projects and stakeholder urgency. D. Agree to the request since the charter officially authorizes the project to proceed. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is A. Choice A is the best option because the project charter does not define detailed scope, schedule, or performance baselines. It simply authorizes the project and names the project manager. Until the project management plan is developed, including a schedule baseline, it's inappropriate to commit to specific delivery dates. Choice B is incorrect. Budget authorization does not imply or justify a delivery timeline. Scheduled estimates must be developed systematically, not assumed based on funding. Choice C is incorrect. While past experience can inform planning, offering a schedule commitment without an approved plan invites unrealistic expectations and risk. Choice D is incorrect. The charter authorizes the project to begin planning, not to make delivery commitments. Execution decisions require validated plans and baselines. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 12. A project is in the late stages of planning. Several subsidiary plans, including those for schedule, cost, and risk, have been developed and reviewed. However, the project sponsor urges the team to begin executing work packages immediately, citing pressure from external stakeholders. What should the project manager do? A. Proceed with execution since key components of the plan have already been approved. B. Delay execution until all subsidiary plans are formally integrated and the project management plan is approved. C. Begin executing low-risk tasks while continuing to finalize the remaining elements of the project management plan. D. Move forward under a rolling wave planning approach and develop remaining plans as more information becomes available. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is B. Choice B is the best option because the project management plan in a predictive project must be formally completed and approved before execution begins. It integrates all subsidiary plans and establishes a single authoritative source for how the project will be managed. Skipping this step undermines alignment and control. Choice A is incorrect. Executing work based only on individual subsidiary plans bypasses formal integration and risks misalignment between key project areas. Choice C is incorrect. Even low-risk tasks should not proceed without an approved, integrated plan. This introduces inconsistency and undermines governance. Choice D is incorrect. Rolling wave planning is associated with adaptive or hybrid approaches. In predictive projects, full planning is expected before execution begins. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 13. A project manager is leading the execution of a predictive project to implement a new financial system. During execution, a senior stakeholder approaches the project team directly and asks them to incorporate a new reporting feature. The team begins making the changes, believing it's a minor enhancement that improves user satisfaction. What should the project manager do upon discovering this? A. Submit a formal change request to document and evaluate the impact of the additional feature. B. Allow the team to complete the feature since it improves functionality and stakeholder value. C. Review the change log to determine whether the enhancement was previously approved. D. Instruct the team to stop the work and remind them that all scope changes require formal approval. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is D. Choice D is the best option because in predictive project management, the project manager is responsible for ensuring that work is executed strictly according to the approved plan. Allowing scope changes without going through integrated change control risks scope creep, budget overrun, and stakeholder misalignment. The team must not implement changes based on informal requests, no matter how small or well-intentioned. Choice A is incorrect. Submitting a change request is appropriate, but only after the unauthorized work is stopped. The PM must first halt work not aligned with the approved plan. Choice B is incorrect. Even beneficial changes must go through formal approval. Implementing changes without proper valuation and sign-off violates change control procedures. Choice C is incorrect. Reviewing the change log is helpful, but doesn't address the fact that unauthorized work is already in progress. Immediate action is required. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 14. Midway through a predictive infrastructure project, the project manager notices recurring issues with contractor handoffs that are causing minor delays. The same issue occurred during a previous phase but was not documented. What should the project manager do? A. Review the final lessons learned register during project closure to include observations from this phase. B. Escalate the issue to senior management since repeated contractor problems may indicate a contract breach. C. Add the observation to the lessons learned register and share it with the team to prevent future delays. D. Ask the quality assurance team to revise their checklist to include better contractor tracking. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is C. Choice C is the best option because project knowledge, including lessons learned, should be captured and shared continuously throughout the project. In predictive environments, waiting until closure to document these issues means losing opportunities to improve team performance in real time. Proactively updating the lessons learned register and communicating it helps prevent recurrence and enhances execution. Choice A is incorrect. While documenting lessons during closure is important, this option delays corrective action and does nothing to improve current performance. Choice B is incorrect. Escalating to senior management may be excessive if the issue can be addressed at the project level. It also misses the knowledge-sharing intent of the question. Choice D is incorrect. Updating the QA checklist might help, but the more appropriate first step is capturing the recurring issue as a lesson learned and informing the team. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 15. While reviewing progress during a predictive infrastructure project, the project manager notices that several tasks are being completed ahead of schedule. Although there are no current delays, this pattern is starting to create dependencies that are out of sync with the procurement schedule, which was based on the original timeline. What should the project manager do first? A. Issue a corrective action to bring execution back in line with the original baseline. B. Update the schedule baseline to reflect actual performance and prevent future misalignment. C. Analyze the variance to determine whether the early task completion affects project constraints. D. Accelerate procurement activities to match the faster project pace and avoid idle time. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is C. This question tests your ability to monitor and control project work by understanding how to respond to performance that deviates from the plan even when it appears positive, like early task completion. In predictive environments, variances must be carefully analyzed before taking any action. Choice C is the best option because the project manager must assess the impact of the variance before making changes. Even early task completion can cause issues such as misaligned dependencies or procurement conflicts. Analysis ensures informed decision-making and maintains control. Choice A is incorrect. Corrective actions are meant to address negative performance issues, not bring a project back to the baseline for the sake of alignment alone. Choice B is incorrect. Updating the baseline without first evaluating the variance violates predictive change control processes. Baselines should not be changed casually. Choice D is incorrect. Accelerating procurement could create new risks or contractual complications. Action shouldn't be taken without confirming that the schedule variance truly warrants adjustment. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 16. Midway through a predictive public works project, a stakeholder submits a change request to add a new reporting feature. The project manager evaluates the impact on scope, cost, and schedule, and finds it will extend the project by 2 weeks and exceed the approved budget. The stakeholder insists the change is critical for compliance. What should the project manager do next? A. Meet with the compliance and stakeholder teams to confirm whether the change is required for regulatory purposes. B. Convene a meeting with the stakeholder and sponsor to explore alternate solutions. C. Implement the change and document it to maintain transparency with stakeholders. D. Submit the evaluated change request to the Change Control Board for decision. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is D. This question tests your knowledge of the formal change control process in predictive project environments. It focuses on what the project manager should do after evaluating a change request that has implications for scope, cost, and schedule and involves stakeholder pressure. Choice D is the best option because once a change has been evaluated, the next step is to submit it to the Change Control Board, CCB, for approval or rejection. The project manager is responsible for facilitating this process but does not unilaterally make the decision. Choice A is incorrect. The change has already been evaluated and revisiting the compliance justification adds unnecessary delay. Regulatory urgency should be addressed through the formal process. Choice B is incorrect. Exploring alternatives may be helpful later, but it's not the next step. Once impact is known, it must go to the CCB for decision. Choice C is incorrect. Implementing the change without approval violates predictive change control processes and can lead to baseline misalignment and audit risks. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 17. A predictive project to implement a national data center has reached the closing phase. All deliverables were accepted, contracts closed, and the final report submitted. The project manager is preparing to archive project documents when a team member raises a concern that the operational support team has not yet been formally briefed or trained. What should the project manager do next? A. Complete administrative closure and transition the issue to the operations department. B. Pause document archiving and ensure all transition activities are completed. C. Note the concern in the lessons learned and proceed with document archiving. D. Inform the sponsor that the transition training will occur post-closure as a separate activity. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is B. This question tests your understanding of the formal closing process in predictive project management, particularly around the transition of deliverables and readiness for operational handoff. PMI emphasizes that closure is not just about documents and signatures, it's about ensuring the product is fully usable and sustainable by the receiving organization. Choice B is the best option because the project cannot be formally closed until all required transition and handover activities, including operational briefings or training, are completed. Archiving should pause until closure readiness is confirmed. Choice A is incorrect. Transitioning the issue without resolving it risks project failure after closure, as the organization may not be prepared to take ownership. Choice C is incorrect. Documenting the issue and lessons learned is valuable but insufficient. The concern must be addressed before closing. Choice D is incorrect. Deferring the training until after closure violates predictive project principles. Transition activities are part of closure, not a post-project phase. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 18. During execution of a predictive transportation project funded by a government agency, a senior engineer recommends a faster, lower-cost method to construct a bridge segment. The project manager agrees the idea appears technically sound, but the approved design has already been distributed to multiple stakeholders and submitted to regulatory authorities. What should the project manager do? A. Pilot the new approach on a small section to validate feasibility before submitting any formal changes. B. Submit a formal proposal through established governance channels and pause related work until a decision is made. C. Direct the team to proceed using the new method while preparing a post-implementation justification. D. Request verbal approval from the agency's technical contact to avoid delays while maintaining stakeholder alignment. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is B. This question tests your understanding of project governance in predictive environments, particularly how formal processes guide decision-making when changes may affect compliance, stakeholder trust, or regulatory commitments. Choice B is the best option because governance frameworks exist to ensure decisions align with contractual, regulatory, and stakeholder obligations. Submitting the change through formal channels and pausing affected work protects the project from unauthorized deviations that could create compliance risks or rework. Choice A is incorrect. Piloting the new method without approval may seem low risk, but it bypasses formal change control and governance requirements. This is inappropriate for a government-funded predictive project. Choice C is incorrect. Implementing the change first and justifying it later is reactive and risky. It violates the controlled nature of predictive delivery and could undermine stakeholder confidence. Choice D is incorrect. Verbal approvals are informal and non-binding. Even with technical support, governance processes demand documented and authorized decisions, especially in regulated environments. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 19. During execution of a predictive project with a tight timeline, the engineering lead proposes a scope enhancement that would improve system functionality. The change requires resource reallocation and slight schedule shifts. The quality manager raises concerns that the change could reduce the effectiveness of upcoming quality reviews. What should the project manager do? A. Facilitate a discussion between the engineering and quality leads to explore alternatives that meet both objectives. B. Consult the sponsor to determine if the functional improvement aligns with project and organizational priorities. C. Review the proposed change against baselines and stakeholder inputs, then proceed if it provides net value. D. Ask the engineering and quality managers to adjust their plans and collaborate on a revised implementation path. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is A. This question tests your understanding of the project manager's integration role in predictive environments. Integration isn't just about making decisions, it's about facilitating alignment across competing areas such as scope, schedule, and quality. The PM must lead coordination efforts, not delegate or escalate prematurely. Choice A is the best option because it reflects the PM's responsibility to integrate perspectives from engineering and quality. Facilitating a discussion encourages collaboration, allows for trade-off analysis, and supports an informed, unified path forward. Choice B is incorrect. While the sponsor's input is valuable, the PM should first attempt to resolve conflicts internally through team facilitation. Involving the sponsor too early bypasses the PM's leadership role in integration. Choice C is incorrect. This option sounds balanced but lacks full stakeholder engagement. Proceeding after limited consultation falls short of PMI's expectations for collaborative integration. Choice D is incorrect. Delegating coordination to functional managers undermines the PM's responsibility to drive integration. The PM should lead the alignment process, not assign it to others. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 20. During execution of a predictive software implementation project, a critical defect is discovered in a module scheduled for client testing. The issue was previously discussed in meetings, but no decision was documented. The testing schedule cannot be shifted without formal approval. The client now demands clarity on how and why the module was allowed to proceed without a fix. What should the project manager review to understand whether formal action was taken and who approved it? A. Issue log. B. Change log. C. Lessons learned register. D. Decision log. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is D. This question tests your ability to identify the correct project document in a predictive environment when accountability and traceability are required. In formal, plan-driven projects, decision documentation is critical, especially when stakeholders demand clarity on how trade-offs were made. Choice D is the best option because the decision log tracks major project decisions, including what was decided, who approved it, and when. It helps the PM verify whether a formal resolution was made regarding the defect and supports transparency with the client. Choice A is incorrect. The issue log helps track problems as they arise, but it does not confirm whether or how they were resolved or approved. Choice B is incorrect. The change log tracks approved change requests, but this scenario centers on a decision, not a formal change submission. Choice C is incorrect. Lessons learned are used to inform future projects or phases, not to verify decisions made during active execution. Congratulations on finishing all 10 questions for integration management in Waterfall projects. That brings you to 20 Waterfall questions completed so far. You're building a solid foundation for your PMP exam, and each question sharpens your readiness. Let's keep up the momentum. I'll see you in the next topic when you're ready.